Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily Tri. My name's Travis, and today we're continuing on with the Daily Tri Awards. In this series, we're going to go through the top 8 stories that happened throughout the year, and these are the ones that seem to catch the most media attention, or at least what I thought made quite a big stir throughout the community. And starting off at number 8, I've got Mike Riley's retirement.
You are an Ironman!
Mike Riley really is the voice of Ironman, and in my opinion, the voice of triathlon. It's so sad that he's now left us, as his last race was in New Zealand a few weeks ago. But his legacy will live on forever. He announced over 1,000 endurance events over 40 years, including 210 Ironmans since 1989. I sure will miss his face and interviews at Kona the most. He always seemed like such a nice guy and one who is a fantastic ambassador for our sport.
Hi everyone, Mike here. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and if you're training for an upcoming event, that your training is going well.
My name is Mike Riley. They call me the voice of Ironman.
At number 7, I've got equipment. This year, it seemed like technology and equipment was talked about an incredible amount, and it's insane to see how much time and energy is invested into these top triathletes to make them that 1% faster. We've seen some absurd carbon cockpits, some completely customized like Magnus Ditlev's where consumers can't even buy them, and we've seen more and more use out of 3D printing for stuff like water bottles and storage units. And then speaking of Magnus Ditlev, we saw him start a trend where he puts a fairing down his shirt to increase the aerodynamics around his body, and I think this is going to be a trend we see even more in 2023 as triathlon doesn't ban it, unlike cycling. And then came along Christian Blumenfeld's tri-bike, which blew all of our minds when the images were released and how Christian looked on the bike. It totally changed up everyone's conceptions of what we thought a fast bike would look like. It was one of the 3 biggest stories this year. The other one was Daniela Rief's Speedo wetsuit, which was banned. However, she wore it in Ironman Switzerland and also at the Collins Cup. And then we saw Gustav Eden's Cloudboom Echo 3 prototype, which was talked about to no end after he set that 2:36 Kona record marathon. After all the advances in technology and equipment and wind tunnel testing, it makes me so glad that a guy like Colin Chartier can still come in and win $100,000 at the US Open after having bought his bike on Facebook Marketplace from an age grouper. But however, I don't think that's going to be the case for many years to come as triathlon's level just keeps raising. At number 6, I've got the Battle of the Businesses. In 2022, PTO really took off fully with its PTO tour, and we saw it attract the biggest names from around the world to race at its destinations. And with high prize money, trip expenses covered, and excellent media coverage, it seemed like the entire professional community got behind it. They also offered age group racing at those events, and from my first-hand opinion, they were fantastic. On the other hand, Ironman seemed to get terrible press with its increased pro card fees, penalty dramas, low prize purses, and most recently, its decision to split Kona. We saw more and more professionals decide to race fewer and fewer Ironmans, and most of the top triathletes have publicly announced their primary dedication to the PTO. I think we'll only hear more of this battle going forward in 2023 as PTO adds more races to its lineup, starting as early as May or June from what I've heard. I think races like Challenge and Class will actually benefit from athletes moving away from Ironman as they can fill their schedule with their races instead. The best thing I think about this battle is that each organization needs to bring its A game right now with so many options out there for the professionals to race. And you never know, a powerhouse like Super League with its large following might also decide to throw its hat in the mix. At number 5, I put the penalty dramas. This year had to be the worst year ever for penalties, and correct me if I'm wrong on that. It seemed that Ironman in particular decided to up its ante on the penalty game and hand out some truly controversial decisions at key races. Sam Logg's penalty at 70.3 World seemed to create the most stir, but others such as Laura Phillips and Florian Angertz at Kona seemed to shake the beehive too. However, the craziest penalty I saw given was Hayden Wild's penalty for unclipping his helmet too soon at the Commonwealth Games, costing him a potential gold medal. More hands were raised this year for the revisement of the rules, video refereeing, and also for tech like the Race Ranger to help create a fairer professional sport. At number 4, I've got the Norwegian hype train. The Norwegians Gustav and Christian were first seen as just a hype train with a few good results, but this year they proved that they were a bullet train, and it seemed like everyone wanted to hop aboard. Every pro triathlete I followed, minus a few, seemed to start using lactate testing, and some of the best triathletes even started using their Norwegian method. Everyone wanted to know what their secret sauce was and what their coach, Olaf Boo, was feeding them for breakfast. At number 3, I've got injuries, illnesses, and more injuries. I made a more in-depth video on this one, but oh yeah, there was a lot of misfortune this year, and the list that I created probably doesn't contain half of those due to some sort of unforeseen injury or illness. I truly hope as a fan that there are far less next year so we can see some of these showdowns we've all been waiting for. At number 2, we've got the recent news that Gwen Jorgensen is back.
You guys are finally getting what you've all been asking for. I'm coming back to triathlon.
The 2016 Olympic gold triathlete is coming back to the sport of triathlon after switching back to running after her gold medal. She is aiming specifically for the mixed relay in the Olympics and doesn't see herself doing any long course triathlon. In order to qualify, however, she will have to race many WTS races, and we could really see her shake up some of those next year. I think this is big news for female triathlon as Gwen was exceptional in her prime, and I hope she's able to return to that status as she once was. It's going to be tough as she just recently had her second child and she's going back to the fastest distance in triathlon. And at number 1, you probably guessed it, the news that Kona is split. I couldn't believe it when the news broke, and I'm sure you couldn't either. Try Today leaked the news, then Pro Tri News leaked that news as well, and then before we knew it, Ironman had confirmed it. The locals had decided that 2 days was too much, and Ironman didn't want to lose the amount of age groupers they could have at a World Champs. It seemed like a terrible idea on Ironman's part, and not many of the pros seemed behind it. Whatever the case may be, it's happening, and next year will be very, very different because of it. Alright, that's a wrap for this top 8. Don't forget that the Global Triathlon Awards, the actual awards, are happening January 20th, and they'll do it a lot better than me. I've received permission to cover the event and do highlights, and stay tuned for a video before the event to discuss the nominations. As always, thanks for watching, check out the links in the description, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for the next one.